3 tips on how to manage your subordinates. What factors are important to really inspire, engage, and lead a highly productive team? Watch this video if you want to become a high-performing team leader. 82% of employees, as per a recent report, says they would quit their job if they face a bad manager. And what story is this data communicating? It's simply saying us that the people management skills, the managerial capability in terms of focusing on employee development is so much missing. And why is that so? It's because of 2 reasons. Number 1, care quotient. Number 2, competence. By care quotient, I mean inability of managers to create a psychological safe environment, an environment of open communication, trust, transparency, authenticity, so that people can give out their best, an environment devoid of any politics. And you will appreciate the fact that as you move up the hierarchy, it becomes very important to display people management skills much more than technical skills. But people don't realize that. The second is competence, which is basically how much knowledge and skills and experience you display in the job at hand. Many times, people just become a manager without really building their skills to an extent they should, and that gets seen through. Or sometimes the skills that you are good at are getting redundant in the market, so you are not comfortable with the new skills that are relevant that your team possesses, and that is when you start losing your respect to the team because you don't know the technical skills. While they are not important, but they are hygiene, so you need to have the base layer of that, and people see through you, and overall your managerial effectiveness come down. So now, what are the various scenarios possible for us to analyze so that you can learn from it and consciously become a high-performing team leader? Now for that, we'll analyze the 2x2 matrix. We'll look at the 4 scenarios, which is a simplification of a complex environment, but it will help us to analyze. So as you can see here, on the x-axis you have competence, y-axis you have care quotient as we call it. Quadrant 1, you have least of both. Absolutely bad place to be in. Your productivity of the team will be broken. You'll be basically managing a highly political environment. People are not talking to each other, or being political, managing optics. Sometimes seen in government organizations, but very bad position to be in. Now, if you look to quadrant 2, that is where you have great competence but lack care, lack people management skills, lack emotional quotient. You will find a vast majority of employees there who have worked very hard, were outstanding performers, and hence promoted to become managers, but they now lack the managerial capabilities. Their key strength of execution is no more helping them, right? And this is where, if you continue doing it, what will happen is you are going to be respected for your outstanding skills, but there will be a state of psychological disengagement between you and your team. They will see through that you are treating them as resources, and hence they will behave as resources. They will only give the bare minimum that they need to continue in the job in order for them to manage their job description. They will never give the total productivity and commitment that's possible. Now if you move to quadrant 4, that is where you have great care quotient, but you don't have competence, and people will see through that. People will realize that you're not adding value to them, and hence what will end up happening is you will create a mediocre outcome, mediocre team, because they will see that you are being political around things, but they're not learning from you for whatever reasons. Now look at quadrant 3, that is the best of both worlds. You will be able to inspire your team. It's a process of social influence, right? You will become a leader, and that is your pathway to move from middle management to top management. You will be able to touch the human ingenuity, the creativity. They will give 200% and you will be amazed to see how much productivity and intelligence can come from your team, which you thought is never there. Now, if you are in quadrant 1, try to move to quadrant 4, because it's easier to develop care quotient than developing competence, which takes longer time. If you are in quadrant 4, please try to, there's no other way out. You have to develop competence so that you can move to quadrant 3, which is our aspired quadrant. If you are in quadrant 2, which is where majority of the managers are, you have to focus on consciously developing your people management skills to move up the care quotient and go to quadrant 3. The good news is it is far easier to develop your care quotient, to develop your EQ and people management skills than the competence. You already have competence, so now you have to be conscious about it, be sensitized how you can build those teams, and it's far easier process, time taking but easier than building competence. Now, how can you do that? There are multiple ways you can do that. I'll enlist the top few more important ones. Number one, have one-on-one check-ins with your team. Invest in their development, coach them, give them exposure, understand their the nuances, what's stopping them, what's motivating them. Number two, make sure you recognize performance and recognize instantly. Give visibility to your team's performance, to the wider leadership and the wider team. Broadcast their good things that they are bringing to the table. Third, create a culture of open communication, trust, authenticity, transparency, so that people are very open to even share mistakes that they have done, knowing that they will be acknowledged, and you move on and don't commit the mistake. Be responsible for their career growth, monetarily and non-monetarily, in terms of evolving them as professional. Two things that you should not do: never micromanage. It's a very bad idea to micromanage smart people. And make sure, number two, is not to sweet talk things. You have to confront people if performance is not coming. People management doesn't mean that you will sweet talk always. You have to hold people accountable, and if that needs displaying strong emotional fortitude, do not shy away from doing that. 3 key takeaways. Number one, if you want to drive productivity and be a great team leader, you have to inspire them, not coach them to productivity. Number two, competence and care quotient, basically people management skills. These are the two factors which help you become an outstanding people leader. So you have to focus equally on both, and eventually as you grow more on the care quotient. Number three, it takes far more time to develop your competence than to develop your care quotient consciously. Hence, if you have competence, it's far easier for you to move to quadrant 3, to really becoming a great people leader, a great team leader, by consciously focusing on your care quotient in the ways that we just discussed. That's it for today. I will request you to please share your comments, feedback, or if you have any questions on the comment box. Do subscribe to the channel so that my new videos can reach out to you. Thank you very much and stay focused.